Welcome to Godsmacked, where AI collides with ontology and your old self doesn't make it out alive. Not safe, not scripted, not sorry. This is for founders, thinkers, and creators who crave more than conversation. They want confrontation. We don't talk about change, we engineer it. No fluff, no filter, just tools, truth, and transformation. Welcome to your initiation.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're an entrepreneur, well, you definitely know the 80-20 rule.
Oh, yeah. It's practically gospel, isn't it?
Right. That idea that, 20% of what you do, the big picture strategy, the key client stuff, real innovation that drives like 80% of your results.
But the flip side is the killer. That 80% of your time often gets sucked up by, well, the grind, admin, repetitive tasks, the stuff that keeps the lights on but doesn't really move the needle.
Exactly. Founder burnout waiting to happen. So today, we're diving deep into something aiming to fix that. The Comet AI Assistant.
And let's be clear up front, this isn't just, another AI search thingy or a fancy browser add-on. The sources describe it as an AI agent built for execution. That's the key word, not just browsing, but doing.
Execution. I saw that phrase in the research too, digital operations team without the overhead. That really jumped out.
It did, because think about it. Normal browsers are passive, right?
Yeah.
You click, you search, you read, you copy, you paste. Comet's designed to basically skip a lot of that, to go straight from your instruction to autonomous action.
How does it actually do that, though? The sources mentioned Agentic workflow execution. Sounds a bit technical.
It does, but think of it like this. The AI can run tasks that have multiple steps, all by itself. It can navigate between different websites, read stuff, click buttons, type into forms, even interact with some of your own tools.
Without you holding its hand the whole time.
Pretty much. After you give it the command, it just goes. It's all about offloading that 80% of work that usually needs constant clicking and watching.
Okay, let's break this down then. Where does Comet really save the most time for an entrepreneur? Let's start with maybe the biggest headache, information overload, research, all that stuff.
Right.
Market intelligence, competitor analysis. I mean, who hasn't ended up with like 50 browser tabs open, feeling totally overwhelmed?
Everyone. It's the classic drowning in tabs problem. So Comet has this live market intelligence feature.
Live market intelligence. Okay, what's that do?
Instead of you manually opening, say, 10 competitor websites and comparing them.
Which takes forever.
Exactly. The agent does it simultaneously. It goes across multiple sites at the same time, pulls out the key info pricing, features, maybe what marketing messages they're using, and synthesizes it.
Hang on, synthesizes it. That's the bit that always takes the human effort, right?
Yeah.
Turning raw data into something useful.
You got it. And the sources say it handles that final step too. Once it's done the analysis, which apparently can take just like 15 minutes instead of hours, it automatically exports the summary.
Exports it where?
Directly into your Google Workspace. So boom, you get a Google Doc with the report all organized. No manual copying and pasting.
Wow. Okay, that cuts out a huge chunk of work. But what about getting deeper insights, like really understanding what customers are saying? For marketing, that's gold.
Right, and that's where audience research automation comes in. You can tell the agent to go dig through places where people are actually talking. The sources mention Reddit, YouTube comments specifically.
It's scraping social media.
Yeah, but the goal is to find real customer pain points, maybe even pull out actual quotes you could use in your marketing.
Okay, but here's a question. Social media is noisy. How does it avoid just grabbing, random complaints or irrelevant stuff? How do you get good data?
That's a fair point. It's not magic. You have to give it clear instructions to find the topic and what kind of intent you're looking for. It's not just go find comments.
Gotcha. So you guide it.
Right. The advantage is getting a volume of raw feedback quickly so you can then spot the patterns rather than spending hours just collecting it all in the first place. It helps you avoid paying for expensive social listening tools too.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift to content strategy. Search is changing so fast, especially with Google's AI answers popping up everywhere.
Yeah, the Search Generative Experience, or SGE. And this is apparently a key thing Comet can do that many other agents can't right now. It can analyze those Google AI overviews.
How does that help?
It looks for common themes and patterns in the AI's answers, so it can help generate an SEO content brief that's tailored not just to beat competitors, but to align with what Google's AI thinks is important.
So it's helping you create content that Google's own AI is more likely to favor.
That seems to be the idea. And another related thing is research organization. If you do have a bunch of tabs open with research, it can synthesize the common themes across all those sources into a dedicated workspace.
Okay, this is all about saving time on the prep work.
Yeah.
And the sources mentioned saving these complex instructions.
Yes, that's crucial. You can set up a really detailed research task like analyze the top 5 competitor blogs for posts about AI productivity published this month and summarize their main points in a Notion doc and save that whole sequence as a shortcut command.
You just click one button or schedule it and it does the whole thing.
Exactly. That's where the real automation power kicks in. Set it and forget it. Okay, so we've saved time on research and content. Now let's talk about directly impacting the bottom line, sales and leads.
Yeah, how does this AI agent help you actually find potential customers? Can it act like a scout?
Sort of, yeah. There's the leads monitoring agent. You can set this up to scan platforms again. Reddit is mentioned, maybe specific industry forums too.
What's it looking for?
High-intent questions or comments. You know, the kind of post where someone says, I really need a tool that does X, or does anyone know a service for Y? Stuff that signals they're actively looking for a solution.
Buying intent signals.
Precisely. When it finds a potential match, it summarizes the details, who posted, what they asked, the context, and it emails that summary straight to you.
Whoa, so it's like passive prospecting. It's finding potential leads out in the wild while you're doing other things.
That's the idea. And you can schedule this to run, say, weekly.
That's pretty powerful. What about more targeted stuff? Like if I have a very specific type of company I want to reach out to.
Yep, that's the sales prospecting agent. This is for when you have a clear ideal customer profile, your ICP. You feed it the criteria. Maybe you're looking for B2B SaaS companies that just raised a Series A, or manufacturers in a certain region showing specific growth signals.
And it finds companies that match.
It identifies and vets them based on your criteria. But here's the really interesting part. It doesn't just give you a list. It then does quick research on that prospect company.
Research like what?
Recent news, key people, maybe pain points you can infer. And then it drafts a highly personalized outreach email.
Wait, it writes the email. I'm always wary of automated outreach sounding, well, automated and spammy.
Totally valid concern. But the key here, according to the sources, is that it drafts the email. It doesn't send it automatically. It saves the personalized draft directly into your Gmail drafts folder. So you give it the final read, maybe tweak it, and you decide whether to hit send.
Got it. So it does like 90% of the grunt work, the research, the initial drafting, but you keep control.
Exactly. It automates the time-consuming part, not the relationship part.
That feels much better. Okay, what about managing inbound stuff? Like partnership requests. My inbox gets flooded with those.
Yeah, another time drain. There's a partnerships manager agent for that. It connects to your Gmail, scans for emails that look like collaboration or partnership opportunities.
And then what? Logs them somewhere.
It extracts the key details, who sent it, their company, what they're proposing, and adds it all neatly into a Notion database or presumably other similar tools.
This is data entry.
No, here's the clever bit. It can also provide a quick analysis based on criteria you set beforehand. Like, does this align with our current partnership goals? Is this company in our target sector?
So it helps you triage the opportunities faster.
Precisely. It helps you quickly decide, yeah, pursue this one, or nope, not a fit. Without having to manually read and evaluate every single email in detail, it speeds up that initial intake decision.
That could save hours. You focus only on the 20% of opportunities that really matter.
That's the goal. And that leads us straight into general admin, which, let's face it, is often the biggest part of that 80% time drain for entrepreneurs.
Oh, absolutely. The death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right. And the sources mentioned some testing showing Comet reduced the time to complete these kinds of multi-step admin tasks by around 60% compared to doing them manually.
60%? That's huge. Why such a big jump?
Simply because it eliminates all the clicking back and forth between different websites or apps. It navigates autonomously.
Okay, give me a concrete example. What's a super common admin task it can just take off your plate?
Meeting preparation. Think about getting ready for an important call with a potential client or partner.
Yeah, you're scrambling. Check LinkedIn, check their company website, look for recent news.
Takes time, right? The agent can do that automatically. It checks your calendar for upcoming external meetings. Then, for each one, it researches the company, looks up the attendees you're meeting with, finds recent news or announcements.
And puts it all together.
Yep, compiles it into a neat Google Doc brief. So you walk into the meeting fully prepped. but it only took minutes of the agent's time, not 30, 45 minutes of yours.
Okay, that alone sounds worth it for high-stakes meetings. What about other repetitive stuff, the clicking, typing, moving data around?
That's where they talk about agent chaining. Basically linking multiple actions together across different sites or tools to complete a whole process.
Like what kind of process?
Well, think about something like procurement or even just shopping for office supplies. A real pain point for small businesses.
Oh, yes. Finding the best price, comparing vendors.
Exactly. So you could set up e-commerce or shopping automation. You tell it, find this specific monitor model, compare prices from these 3 approved vendors, add the cheapest one to the cart, and maybe even try applying this discount code.
And it just does it.
Yeah.
Navigates the sites, adds to cart.
That's the claim. It handles that whole workflow up to the point of final purchase confirmation, usually. You just review the cart.
So you go from being the person doing the clicking to the person just approving the result.
Pretty much. Another big one is form filling.
Oh, tell me more. I hate filling out forms.
Right. If you have forms you fill out repeatedly, vendor onboarding, guest intake for a podcast, maybe even parts of job applications, the agent can auto-populate them.
How does it know the info?
It can use information it already has stored about you or your company, or you could even point it to a document like your resume or a company profile to pull data from. It just eliminates that tedious retyping.
Okay, that's genuinely useful.
Yeah.
Any other admin wins? What about the email monster?
Yeah, basic email management. It's not going to replace a human assistant entirely, of course, but you could potentially set it up to scan your inbox based on rules you define.
Like flag anything urgent?
Sort of, maybe more specific, like based on your roles. If an email mentions shipping issue or customer complaint, add it to my urgent to-do list. It could help synthesize a priority list for your day, pulling out the emails that need your core strategic input, that 20% focus.
Helping you cut through the noise to find the signal.
That's the idea behind all these admin features.
Yeah.
Hashtag outro.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big picture here? What does this all mean for you, the listener, the entrepreneur?
I think the fundamental shift, the real core value, isn't just about being slightly faster at searching. It's moving away from doing everything manually. The searching, the clicking, the copying, the pasting.
Right. It's less about finding information and more about getting things done.
Exactly. You shift to just telling the browser, the agent, what outcome you need. Get me this report, find these leads, prepare me for this meeting, fill out this form. You define the task, and it executes the steps.
Offloading that complex, repetitive, often frustrating 80% of the work.
Precisely. So Comet, or tools like it, aim to become that autonomous digital ops team, handling the data gathering, the initial prospecting, the admin drudgery, so that you, the entrepreneur, get your time and mental energy back.
Freeing you up to actually focus on the strategy, the key relationships, the growth stuff. The 20% that really matters.
That's the promise.
Okay, one crucial point before we finish. This agent connects to your Google stuff, reads your email drafts, looks at your calendar.
Yeah.
Privacy has to be a huge concern, right?
Absolutely. And the sources acknowledge this is a big deal. They suggest a couple of main ways to mitigate the risk.
Like what?
Well, you can usually adjust settings within the tool to block its access to really sensitive sites like your online banking. That's step one.
Okay.
But the more robust recommendation for maximum security and data isolation is actually to create a completely separate Google account.
A whole separate account.
Yeah.
Just for the AI.
One dedicated purely to the tasks you want to automate, making sure no sensitive personal or primary business data ever lives in that account.
Okay, that's practical, but it does add a bit of friction, having a separate login. Is that trade-off worth it?
The sources suggest that for many, especially if you're automating significant workflows, the answer is probably yes. The hassle of a second account might be small compared to the time saved by the automation, and it provides a much stronger safety net against potential data leaks if the tool itself were ever compromised.
A dedicated bot account, essentially.
Kinda, yeah, for non-critical tasks.
That's a really useful tip for listeners thinking about this. Okay, final thought then, something for you to chew on after this deep dive.
Go for it.
Think about your biggest time sink right now. That one task, that 80% activity that makes you feel constantly behind or like you desperately need to hire someone. Maybe it's processing invoices, maybe it's onboarding new clients, maybe it's that weekly reporting chore.
We all have one. Or 5.
Right. Now, try to actually calculate, even roughly, what that task is costing you. Not just in hours, but in missed opportunities. What strategic work aren't you doing because you're stuck doing that? And then ask yourself, could that entire workflow potentially become a single scheduled command for an AI agent like this? What would that unlock for your business?
You've been Godsmacked, but listening is the easy part. Now it's time to build. Join us in the Forge, where the episode becomes action and clarity gets weaponized. First initiation's on us. Access is limited. Courage is required.